Why? Why do I keep putting myself through this? Extremely frustrating. Why? They got it again. Who or what is doing that to my freaking cabbage? Hello and welcome back to A Warrior's Garden. It's good to have you back. Well, as you saw in the introduction, or the hook as they call it, the hook, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should not garden if these apply to you. And the reason I'm doing this is to save you a lot of frustration and to hopefully give you something to think about. Now, obviously, I'm an avid gardener, as you can see from my garden, and I have a lot going on. I've got, this is a pineapple, various herbs, a mango tree, a moringa tree, grapevine, eggplants, tomato plants, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, that big thing's okra, sorry, blurred, pepper plants, dragon fruit, and even more back there. But let's talk about gardening for a second. Why should you not garden? Well, that's a good question. Number one and foremost, are you willing to put the time in? Because it is time consuming, and you have got to be a dedicated person. You've got to love gardening because it is frustrating and it needs to be babied like a baby. And if you don't do these things, you'll be hard pressed until it gets established to be successful. So number one reason, time. Number two, let's talk about the old dinero, money. It's expensive. So I originally got into gardening to raise my own veggies to save money. And back in the 90s, that was not a hard thing to do. It was pretty easy. And I did save money. It wasn't that expensive for me to gardening, but we lived in a different climate. Now we live in the awful heat of Arizona, which presents a couple opportunities and some big minuses. And one of the minuses is water. And water is expensive here. My water bill is higher than if I just had a xeriscaped landscaping, a desert landscaping. So I use more water. Now, I have done a few things differently than some people because 90% of my neighbors have pools. I choose not to have a pool to save money on water because pools eat up a lot of water. And I have very little grass, enough for my dogs and my grandkids to play on. But that being said, it takes money to do all this and to water it. Building the beds takes money. Buying fertilizer takes money. Buying soil takes money. Buying the plant seeds takes money. Buying the pre-sprouted plants takes money. All takes a lot of money. But some of it's initial investment. And once you get through the initial investment, it's a downhill slope from there as far as cost versus gain. Number 3 reason. One of my biggest pet peeves. Let's talk about pests. Yeah, I hate pests. I fight them every freaking year. I fight pests. And they're no joke. If it's not squirrels, it's whiteflies. If it's not whiteflies, it's grubs. If it's not grubs, it's birds. If it's not birds, it's fungus. It's something. There's something I'm always fighting. And goes back to reason number 1, time, and reason number 2, money. These are going to be some of the most expensive veggies that you're going to eat. But the upside of that is they're delicious. There is nothing like fresh, ripe, garden-raised veggies. Stores don't even come close. Don't try and tell me they do. You're lying. Because unless you're buying from a farmer's market, that's really good. If you're going to just your regular grocery store, those veggies have been sitting forever. They were picked green, and they are not nearly as flavorful. Guaranteed. So let's talk about reason number 4. Environment. Reason number 4. Well, that's a big reason here in Arizona. It is hot as hell in the summer. This last summer was no joke. My plants paid a price, and it was tough. I had to put shade cloth up right there to protect my dragon fruit and some of my veggies. It's just the way it is. I nearly lost several plants, like my Asian pear. That one nearly paid the price, as did some of my others. So environment is no joke. You've got to really think about your environment, especially if you're in Arizona or even up north. There's things I grow here y'all can't grow unless you have a greenhouse. And there's things you guys grow up there that I can't grow because it's too darn hot. And I'm hard pressed to find a species that can handle it. So number 4, environment. And the last of all, number 5, your neighbors. Yeah, that's a thing. Luckily, I have good neighbors, but I have fellow gardeners that don't. And their neighbors don't like it. They think that it brings weeds and pests, and they're annoyed by it, and they're maybe jealous by it. But nonetheless, neighbors are a thing. You need to carefully think about your neighborhood and your neighbors, and if it fits into where you're at. Are you in an HOA? Some HOAs don't allow it. We moved out of an HOA north of here where we owned another home that I couldn't garden in. It wasn't allowed, front or back. Very annoying. Luckily, this HOA is a lot more flexible, and I have a lot more ability to do things. But like I showed with my garden shed, I had to really think about things and get it figured out if I could even put a garden shed in my garden. Some things I can't do, unfortunately, because the potential of being written up is real. I've been written up for stupid things. I'll give you an example. My Palo Verde in my front, the branches were less than 8 feet off the sidewalk. They're probably about 7 feet. And guess what I got? A nasty gram from the HOA because, heavens forbid, my Palo Verde was less than 8 feet above the sidewalk. So that is a real thing, man. So you got to think about this stuff. I hope I didn't dissuade you too much, but I want to be real about it. And I want you to know that, hey, gardening's no joke. But in my next video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should garden. And they're great reasons. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully between these 2 videos, you can make a good decision, especially if you live in Arizona, why you should or should not garden. Until then, stay safe. Have fun gardening, and remember, it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. Talk to you later.